children, teenagers, and young adults, and has built the capacity of a lot of young people and women through her humanitarian services. So she's the team lead of Revamp Africa Abuja, a community and public policy influencer who seeks to contribute to adding her voice to the millions of Nigerians who demands from their governments to do the needful for the good of the citizens. She's a community engagement officer at Connected Development. So you're highly welcome, ma. We are happy to have you in our midst. Thank you so much for coming on board.
Thank you so much, Ruth. Thank you so much. My name is Ifnaya. Please, all the Martin, we are all a team together. So I'm standing in for my director, Mr. Kingsley Ago. So I'm actually under somebody's shoe to be here this morning. Like I said, I am apologizing for being late, but nevertheless, I'm here. And I hope that the conversation we are going to have this morning is going to be very useful. It's going to help every one of us because we are here to learn. And for us to be able to understand what community organizing is all about, using what we've done in connected development, because there's no outside work that we have done that is new. It's just work that we have done. I'm going to be pushing out there to encourage every one of us to be able to know what community organizing, what it entails, what is deliverable, what we expect of us to do at every level. Thank you so much. I don't know whether I could start now with the presentation. I just have a few slides to share, but I want to know that my class, anytime I take up something role, I always make it to be interactive, where all of us can share ideas. We can have I can have people feedback, ask questions, and we can even learn. So it's not cast in stone that because I'm a facilitator on this side, I know it all. So there are a bit of what everybody can learn from one or two things, and we'll make it happen. So we're going to work together as a team. And that's what I've learned so far in me being connected development, work as a team, and we share ideas. So I'm going to be sharing ideas with Caroline, Musa, Victoria, Imaja, Gabriel, Edibo, Charity. I hope I got everyone that is on team right. Thank you so much. So without further ado, I'm going to be sharing my slide now. Thank you. Sorry, just give me a few minutes. Sorry. Sorry, I'm coming. Just give me a few minutes. Can you see my screen? Please, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So community organizing, so is about empowering civic engagement in digital age. So what we have moved from the analog section in Nigeria, and we are moving to what we call the digital age, where we have to use the digital tools to make what we do at the community and what we do with people to be out there and people to be enlightened more. So I see from projection, we see a world where everyone is being carried along. So either directly or indirectly pushing off a course in what we do. So for me, I'm going to be taking on this and I'm going to be asking questions. What do we understand by community organizing? No, no answer is wrong. No answer is, but what do you understand by community organizing? Yeah, anybody want to try?
Okay, can you hear me?
So if you can use your name so I can be able to know who I'm talking with. Sorry.
Okay, my name is Gabriel. Can you hear me, ma?
I can hear you loud and clear.
All right. So for me, it's basically a situation whereby one is carrying out a project. You go to the community to interact with them, have a meeting with them, to hear from them, to get feedback from them. Then they equally share with you as well from their own perspective what they are.
Exactly. Community organizing. So you don't organize something in the community of the community, like you just be wherever you are and just be assuming for the community. So that's why we have what we call a mapping, like having an interaction with the community. So Gabriel, you're right. That's how communities work. And being a community engager, this is how we do. We try to not just work on silos. We try to work with the needs and what is entailed in that community. That's where you are statistically okay. The geographical nature of the community is measured. The needs of the communities are met. What the community needs are the right advocacy to go into a community. And one of the things I've learned in being in an NGO space for close to 7 years now is that you try and have interaction. Like there's somebody influencing that community. You need to ask questions around to be able to know what goes on in that community and how that community works. So you're right, Gabriel. Thank you for that. Who again has something to share before I? Does anybody have anything, or we feel we are good to go? Okay, time. I hope you guys see my slide. Can you see my slide?
Yes, we can.
All right. So community organizing is to build collective power to address common interests. There must be a need. There must be something we are tackling. There must be an issue on ground. What do you want to do in this community? Okay, let me take, for example, we are like Enugu now. I'm not very conversant with what is happening in Enugu, but can somebody give me a little bit of what goes on in Enugu? Let me just give you. So I want to go and engage people in Nsukka right now. They want to go and engage people in Nsukka, and they want to engage the community looking at education aspect. I'm just trying to create an awareness. You need to be looking at what is predominant that is happening in Nsukka. The Nsukka people, they agree to go to school. Is there any cultural value that stop people from going to school? Is there any barrier? What is it? Or is there any influence or something that is taking away the young people from being in school? So you do a common issue, uniting people to develop that solution of what is the issue that have been raised in that community. Then you now advocate for that change and drive social impact. So it's about empowering an individual, a group of people to foster solidarity and also create a roadmap for sustained community-led action. So like I said, number one is common interest. What are we trying to address? Issues that we are talking about. Is the issue of education? Is the issue of health? Is the issue of transparency and accountability as regards to parliamentarians in the state having to do what they have said to do? Are you trying to monitor project? Are you trying to see that the social implementing project that the government said they will do in the state is functional? There must be an issue. You don't just wake up. And issues are peculiar to communities. They are peculiar to communities. Issues that differs in Nsukka is also issues that are different from people living on One. Sorry, I know my dad used to have something to do with One, and then that's why I'm very particular with One. But that's another thing. So issues that are particular in that community, because even inside that Enugu, somebody living in Nsukka has different thing from somebody living in give me another state. There's a state that where you have the training for FRS. I don't know. I know that there's a community there. Is different from there. Is different from people living in Enugu time. It's different from people living in Night Mine. It's different. So you have to know what is peculiar, what issue. Then you develop solutions towards it, and then advocate for that change to drive social impact. Is that clear? Does it make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
All right. So principles of community organizing. So you build, first of all, you build a relationship. Like it starts with building relationship, trust, essential needs through social event, regular meetings. So these are principles that probably build relationship. How are you building relationship? You go into a community, you try to know the youth head, the women leader, the market head, and all that. So you build a synergy. First of all, those people should be able to understand from your angle of trust. You know, if you look at Nigeria today, we're actually having issues with what we are looking at now is trying to rebuild trust between citizens. So you build relationships that people that you're not coming to bring harm to the community, but you're coming to achieve a solution that can even help that community and bring empathy. So another principle of organizing, there must be inclusivity. Now you have to include all diverse of people, language, cultural sensitivity, understanding what goes on in that place. You cannot come in a community, you must know their social norms, what they believe, their belief system. It must work in line with their belief system, even though some of the belief system needs to be changed or the perception behind it needs to change. But first of all, you have to align with that. So inclusivity also means not just dealing with people, you're also dealing with people with living with disability. You're also dealing with other people like gender inclusion and all inclusion, diverse training to actually have inclusion and make sure that they are included. Then you have leadership development, identify and nurture new leaders through training. These are the principles that you use. So you train them, monitoring, build their capacity and empower them. There's no way you will come into a community under community organizing, like working COSA. You don't just come into a community and leave off the community. You come into a community, involve them and get them to own it. And that's why for us at Content Development, we are saying that we are giving people, amplifying the voice of the marginalized so they can own whatever we are doing. So you give them leadership development, you train them, you monitor them, you build their skills, you empower them so that they can take up from what, and imagine an initiative you bring in and a community is running with that initiative. You know, it will get a long way. Hello, can anybody know it to get a long way? When you bring that, if you bring an initiative and you empower the community and the community or the members of the community are now the one taking that initiative, what do you think the result will be? What do you think the result will be?
There will be a sustainable impact.
There will be a sustainable one. There will be ownership. There will be enthusiasm, right? There will be passion because you have included them, not just including them, you have equipped them. You build their capacity. Now they know what they know. There's an enlightenment. They can now push to make their community better. That's the good thing about this principle. So another thing again is demonstrate community power through rallies, petitions, and really teach them partnership, teach them how to work with people, teach them how to make them volunteers, be a mobilizer of volunteers in that community. It helps for collective action because two heads are better than one. So that's it. So current trends in community organizing, So now because we're trying to build a community organizing through the digital age. So right now, I know we might be thinking that some communities are still in the dark, but believe me, the version on social media is also helping to bring a lot of trends in communities. Yes, we are not there yet, but you can believe me that it's not how you used to see some places before, is how you used to see them. There's a little bit awareness because of interventions that are going into the communities. Some people are beginning to create an awareness of how to use phones, how to make report, and even now, even the technology is beginning to be smart in their dealings. Now you can have, before touchlight, these Nokia phones might not be able to do anything initially, but now the Nokia phones are beginning to even have that people can even do Facebook on it, right?
The loading, just leave it.
Sorry, right? Hello,
You have tried. No, no, no. Okay.
Pascal, please mute
please, Pastor, can you
yourself.
put up your okay. I asked a question. I'm asking that, before touchlight phones are useless. We use as a second phone, right? Where I'm just trying to give a narrative. You use a touchlight phone for just to have the second number that makes call, right?
Yes, yes.
But now, what is going on with Torchlight phone? I'm asking you a question. What is going on with Torchlight phones now? Those small phones, those have a second phones.
It's no longer in use.
It's no longer in use, or it has been improved somehow.
Yeah, some of them have been improved
Have been
so
improved
drastically.
so
Yes, that you even
drastically,
have
and
internet connections now with them.
exactly. And another thing again you can think is affordable. If affordable for anybody in the community to use. So you see that the era of not being digitalized is actually going out gradually. Now people are beginning to be aware of what is happening in their community. So current trends in community organizing is digital organizing, really social media, online petition, virtual meetings for broader reach and efficiency. So we now have also, now the youths are beginning to take ownership. There's youth movement, young people driving climate change, social justice initiative, and fostering leadership in all that. So there's some projects we've gone to do in some communities, and you just be hearing some mind-blowing things from the elders in the community saying, that's how they used to do it there. That means awareness has already been created, and people are beginning to have trends to know what the outside world is doing. So even traditional media and also current media by using are beginning to enter into this community. So you need it to be able to understand communities. Then also in trends of community organizing, you must really need a collaborative network. We can't work. There are a lot of NGOs that are doing the things you are doing. All you need to do is just to bring synergy. Also, you need to see just to bring synergy. Government bodies and other people sharing and joint campaign. A campaign that is done together with other organizations will create more impact in community organizing, will create more impact, will create more awareness. People are being informed because we have diverse of NGOs that are coming in and have the same thing you are doing and all that. Are you okay at this point? Am I too fast? Am I saying a lot? Is there understanding? Are we getting what is all about for community organizing? Please, I'd like to know, have a feedback.
No, you're not too fast. I'm following. Let me speak for myself.
No, who is talking? I want to know. Ruth, sorry, you can't be the only one talking. I know you are the leader, so I'm talking to other people that are in a part of your team that are learning. So please, I want to hear from them to be able to show that I'm okay. So I'm seeing thumbs up. I'm seeing thumbs up. I'm seeing that, but I please, I don't know. I might not be very convincing for us to do, but I like to have an interactive section. That's how I work, so that we'll be able to know that we are doing writing and everybody is learning. Thank you.
It was Charity that just spoke now. She's one of the
Charity.
participants.
Okay,
Yes.
Charity, thank you. Okay, so I want to give a case study for what is all about. Like, don't mind this in Fridays for Future. It's just something I created. We imagine youth-led climate strike. So it's a case study is what we are trying to do, what community organizing is about. So the focus, what are we focusing, is to demand urgent action on climate change. So I'm trying to look at you trying to organize a work in community and how community works. First of all, you have to know focus, like I mentioned the other. What are we focusing on? We are focusing on climate change. Then you need to know everything about climate change. How the method we are going to the methodological, is it the climate change? Is that the result of school strike? Because they're also affecting the climate change. Is it as a result of global marches or online activism? What exactly method are you want to use to be able to demand an urgent action when it comes to climate change in schools, around schools? So I tagged it Fridays for Future. It's just a name. It doesn't have anything to do, just like we are projecting for more educational system, more collaboration in educational system, more inclusion in educational system, more seeing that we match up with whatever that is going on, and the communities are getting to know what it means to be in school, what it means to be in school. Then what impact are we looking at? So impact, raise global awareness, pressure the government to take action. So imagine a case study of what you want to do. I wanted everybody to believe what exactly do you want to be able to achieve. So you look at the focus, you look at the methodology, you look at the impact. There must be an output, there must be an outcome in everything you are doing. What are you trying to achieve? Oh, I want a situation whereby the health facility or that government being able to build what do you call these health centers in community. So you look at the focus. Is health is the issue of this community? Is education the issue of this community? Okay, in this health that we're even talking about, what is the is it lack of medical centers? Is it lack of drugs not being populated? Is it lack of hospital not being equipped? So you have to look at the method. Okay, what methodology are we going to use? What is the impact? What is the essence, the outcome of what we are looking at this? Another case study I'm looking at again is like, look at another case study. This is what we are popular with, right? We are popular with NSAS that happen, right? Everybody knew about NSAS. If you knew about the NSAS, just show me by head of, you knew about the NSAS. Okay, what was NSAS trying to do in the communities? Even though NSAS was largely in urban and all that, but what was NSAS trying to do? Ending, the focus was to end
police brutality.
Yes, police brutality and demanding justice, right? Trying to ensure that the police officers, the police station, the everything are in line with the policies, because there are policies that govern this. Being a lawyer, you're not supposed to hold somebody 24 hours for retention, right? If there's no nominal compliance, the law says you charge the person to court, undischarge the person, right? But you see people are being arrested and be put into prison and they stay longer. You see awaiting trials, or people, their case file are not even being mentioned. Some of them don't even know the reason why they're there. Some of them don't even know why they came. There is no data to show. So the focus of NSAS at that point was to end police brutality and demand justice. What method were they using? They used protest. They were heavy on social media. There was advocacy, right? And what was the impact? What was the anchor to ensure that international body come to our rescue and to ensure that the government takes responsibility? That was the essence. I'm giving you, in all this, I'm giving you a case study of what you are looking at, because I've already told you that number one, for you to do this, there must be this for you to be able to ensure that in community organizing, you are fulfilling purpose and you are ensuring that your outcome can be measured, right? So another one is I'm using now collected development. I've come back home. Sorry, I have to use where I work. Everybody knows that we are huge on follow the money, right? I don't know who has heard of follow the money or connected. If you have heard of connected, can I just open your mic and say something? Let me know that you know.
I've heard about it.
You heard about it. What do you know about? I'm listening. Just talk.
Okay, so I know the Follow the Money initiative is something that Code does, where you follow how the government is spending the money that is being given to them about
Wow.
initiative or the money they apply for in executing projects.
Good. That's fantastic. Yes, that's what our initiative is. So what are we doing with Follow the Money is to improve access to information and empower local communities to be able to track government spendings. That is what we are doing. And what we are doing is community. Oh, road is supposed to be built in Ngwa Road. Is that road functioning in Ngwa Road? Oh, the government promised that Nsuka community will have, or the local government will have schools in each senatorial district, fully funded, fully equipped. Is that what is working? So we ensure we follow the money. The initiative is follow the money, tracking government spendings. And what is our impact? To improve in accountability and transparency at all levels. That is what community is all about. You must have your focus, you must have your methodology, your methodology you are using, and you must have what impact are you trying to create, what outcome are you, what output are you bringing out to what community organizing is all about. I hope this was able to narrow some things down for you to be able to understand. I'm using this case study because we are familiar with this thing, so that we know that you're not working, you're not just going to do things because you felt that community needs or being somewhere. So you needed to get on the ground to do research about this so that you can use all this case study to be able to achieve what you want, right? So now let us talk about how we work in community organizing. First of all is identifying the community needs. What do you do? First of all, you start with survey, interview. You start with research. What do I want to achieve? You collect data from community members, structured questionnaire. It can be face-to-face interview. It can be a survey on local infrastructure concerns. You go into the community, you meet with the chief, and you're able to map up what is happening. So I'm going to take out the asset mapping. You need to come up and then identify community strengths, the resources by mapping the local government and categorizing the, like, e.g., key community resources and skill. What are they needing? What do you want to achieve? What is happening with them? You map up that community and you take it. Then you look for community meetings. You start like a town hall meeting. You start with a focus group discussion to prioritize whatever they are looking. A town hall meeting can be anything on community safety. It can be on security. It can be on education. It can be on youth involvement in government. It can be, okay, let's just even track the senatorial person that is in the Senate or even the House of Rep, the people that we have elected. Let's track their input or their work in what they have achieved to do. So you start with that. So in all this thing you are doing, what you are doing here, you are getting the community involved. You're organizing yourself. That community, you're not just doing it because you feel like you want it. That's how I've been repeating it. But you're doing it because you want an inclusion. You want that community to have a meaningful impact that can be measurable, impact that is seen. And in doing this, you're also tweeting, you're using, because we are talking about digital age. So you're going to be using online, you're going to make an online process, both traditional and all that, trying to create awareness, because somebody who is, what this online thing does is that somebody who is in that community who doesn't even know will see what you are doing. And then it can also build collaboration and partnership. So you create an impact where the community begin to own up to what they are supposed to do and see the need, first of all, to be able to understand. Like I always say, don't give people gun to shoot when you have not trained them on what gun does and you are not giving them the right thing to shoot that gun. What am I trying to say is that, first of all, there must be an information. When you do all those surveys, information is very key. Communication is very key, because you get to know what that community needs, what they want to do, and all that. So you now be able to arm them. You now be able to know what they are up to. Sorry. So number one is that you also use SWOT analysis. It's also very good for you to use SWOT analysis in the prioritizing community needs. Very important. Assess their strengths, their weaknesses, their opportunities, their threats. Very important. This is where evaluation, your MIE comes in. Then also in doing this, there must be a setting a SMART goal, define clear, achievable objective using your SMART criteria. Like, you must measure it. You'll be able to know that these things you are doing is working. Because I know that these days we do a lot of behavioral change, and over time, so you have actually been saying that to measure it is very hard. But believe me, it can be measured. It can be actually be looking at the results you have been doing, is trying to compare what was it before and what we are doing. Then if we talk about behavioral change in a human being, that one takes a longer time. But looking at it in the community aspect, you could see what you are doing. You can see that your SMART goals you set is very achievable. It's something that the criteria is there. It's something that you can look at it and be able to measure it, that you're able to do this and you're working on it. Then you look at your action plan, develop your detailed steps or timeline and assess responsibilities. Create a Word doc with specific tasks and role. Action plan. Action plan is at the end of the day, the community is beginning to own this thing. So you look at step line and assess responsibility. When you're going into community, don't make community look like you are the Lord and the link of that community. When you go into community, you try to live up your sleeves and ensure that you are working with them, assign responsibility to them. In doing that, you are buying in, and they are building trust, because they are seeing that you actually want us to be part of this, and this is what you want to achieve. And when you start having those details tied and assigning responsibility with it, and they understand the need for what of which you want to achieve, you will see them owning it. At this point, does anybody have any question? Any question at this point?
No, ma'am.
Any question? Any confusion? Please, Ruth, can I continue? I just wanted to stop at this point to be able
Yes,
to
ma.
know.
Go ahead, ma. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Okay, my next slide again is on, I'm bringing a civic engagement to this because that's what we are huge on, knowledge for civic engagement. So how do you do this knowledge and civic engagement? Workshop is very good in organizing in digital aid workshop, information campaign, a campaign for this. In this aspect of awareness is not to name and shame anybody, but in this place you can actually measure what is obtainable in one community and use it for another in education. Like I said, you don't just give a gun for people to shoot when you have not armed them, or give them what gun is, what bullet is, and what is meant for. If you put bullet and gun in the wrong hands, it will shoot and a lot of people will die. But you put it in the right, the person will shoot and aim at the target, and that target will be there. So this is it. So you conduct training on civil rights and responsibility, information materials, you distribute flyer, let there be an online, let people see that people cannot read and write. And I want to factor in here too is that in doing this, you'll be able to also look at language barrier, very important in organizing things. Make sure you have an interpreter. Anywhere you cannot be able to speak, have an interpreter, or do something that will have to be in. Okay, let me share an experience. There is a project I'm working on called Open Pali. Open Pali is trying to bridge the gap for citizens education on what governance is all about, what governance structure you need, trying to ensure that what parliament, your parliamentarians said to do, they are doing in their community. So you're educating people on what goes on in the parliament, what happens in the parliament, how bills are passed, how communities, that the communities are also part of nominating project, and in terms of what their parliamentary ought to do, they are doing it. So we design it, and this is happening in Oyo, Yobe, and Kwara. What do you observe? Yobe is an Hausa speaking area. Oyo and Kwara is Yoruba, and even inside that Yoruba, Kwara still have a little bit of what they call it, of a little bit Hausa people, living in it. So what are we doing about it is that we started looking at Open Parliament Manual, where we used to educate them, to teach them on governance structure, governance parliament, processes of the government, what goes on, what is intended of them, how projects are nominated, how projects are supposed to be debunked, how parliamentarians should conduct themselves, how they relate with them, their relationship with them, and how to interact with them, and how to hold their government to account. So we designed this book, and now it's going into communities where people can't even understand English. So this awareness will not go on until you're able to put it in the language that they understand. So now what we do is that Open Parliament, we now put it in Yoruba, put it in Hausa. All our messages will have both English and the local language, so that there will be an understanding of what that engagement is all about. Are we together?
Yes,
Are we
ma'am.
together? Is very important.
Yes, ma'am.
Very, very, very important. Very, very important that you bring in that language, because not everyone hears English. You want to agree with that. And in community organizing, you must have to, if your people are not being engaged to be able to understand, there's already a gap. And once there's a gap, it means that there's going to be a flaw. Because if people don't have an understanding of what your engagement is all about in community, it's already posing a threat. So outcome will not be measured. Your output will not be there. The impact you want to see might not be there. And you look at it, communication is very important. Language, that's the issue. So number 2 is when you're leveraging on knowledge for civic advocacy. Community organizing is very huge on advocacy. For us as community engagement, in fact, I can't be a number of times I've been in trying to advocate, trying to seek anything with government and stakeholders and all that, and lobby. So engage policymakers, because they need to be involved in whatever you're doing. In fact, I've come to realize that there is no community engaging without you looking at policies, because there are policies that govern whatever you want to do. Whatever you want to do, just spring up. You're not just springing up, something is covering it. It's for you to be able to look at those policies. And while you're looking at those policies, it is paramount. You look at my word, it is paramount, but maybe also it is important to also bring in the policymakers and the stakeholders involved. Your stakeholders must be there in advocating. You must advocate to tell them this is your civic engagement, what you intend to do in that community. You meet with local officials. Those local officials will be able to tell you what you need, what is going, how to go about it. How to go about it, how to, organize it and all that. So then you now start doing your public campaign using media, public to raise an awareness and support, and other methods you can use. Like I said, traditional media, you know what all about, what you can use to. Is somebody, okay, somebody just answered something. I just want to be sure. Then you almost, like I said, volunteer is very important. Please do put volunteers in your outreach. They are very important. They are very important. They are very important. You can have champions. If you know connected development, for us to do work in our communities, we'll have champions will follow the money, who are able to help us to carry out these things. So you look at community engagement, they attract volunteers through outreach and event. And the more you are doing it, people that have like-minded, people that have interest, it depends on the level of what you are doing. Like I said, if it's an interest if it's something that interests the entire community, you will get people that buy in. You will see a lot of people supporting it. So it's very important. Tools and resources for this is, number one, use your social media platform. You have a Facebook account. Somebody out there that in that village might not know what is happening in his community. I think before I joined Code, during the election, I saw what they were doing in my state, and I just realized that these guys just captured what was going on in the state I'm from. And I'm like, wow. And I didn't even know all this information were there. So it kind of made me rethink that, oh, I have a part to play in the community where I belong in the state. So you can use your Instagram outreach, engagement, online collaboration, Zoom, workshop, anything you can use to go and do your community engagement. You can also, like in community organizing, there's sometimes it might not be project funded, it might not be anything. So you can actually use like all this GoFundMe to raise money for projects. If you're doing it on the personal note, if you want to do something on the personal note that doesn't require grant. Okay, I want to speak on this now because I'm opportune. Last weekend, I was opportune to meet with Ford Foundation grant officer manager, and she was speaking. And she was speaking on some project that doesn't even require all the scenario, that they can just see because it's in social media, because somebody is driving it in change, because somebody has seen it, and you see them come to fund it. So sometimes the community might not be not waiting for the big fund to do it, but make sure your work is out there in community. People want to see what you're doing in community and look at it. They just call the person, please, what do you think can enable for you to do more of these interventions that they are doing here in other communities, like minds in other communities that are very close to the town where you are doing it? So it's very important. Very, 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 very important. So upscaling it, you upscale through, for us not to replicate whatever we are doing, is to adapt and approve proven models from different communities. Like I said, it's all about building partnership together. Then collaborating with the alliance is very important. To partner with them, make sure that capacity building of training people, leadership is very paramount, is very important. Sorry. So at this point, I want to hear our questions. I hope I was able to do justice to it in terms of what we want. Is there any question?
All right, so Victoria and Charity, is there any question from your end?
Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am, for the wonderful presentation. I particularly enjoyed it, and it was a lot of insight. So I have a little bit of a question. You said something about interacting with Ford Foundation and how they fund events. So my question goes about the GoFundMe event, about the GoFundMe that you suggested that we fund our events. is there like a particular criteria to this, or you can just actually raise money? You can actually just set up to raise money for your initiative, or is there like a particular criteria to that?
Okay, every GoFundMe has different objective of why you want to do it, right? If you have you seen any of the GoFundMe, it has different objective. Your GoFundMe is that money comes into the project account where people that have like-minded interests can donate to see that what you are doing. I'm taking this aside on where we're not getting grants. Avenues you can get money to be able to do. In fact, before I talk about GoFundMe, what I understood from Ford Foundation, the lady on Saturday, was to talk about the fact that you don't even need money. Money should not be the bed of what they are doing. Just with little engagement and people that have like interest with you can start contributing. It's even people that will not start sharing that. But where you need money to now do this, GoFundMe has a design, a template of what you, number one, people want to see what you've done. That's why you need to do something in the community before you can start engaging for people to contribute to what they are doing, right? So GoFundMe has a different template. They are GoFundMe for people raising for school fees for their personal needs. So you have to go to the one that speak to your community and what you want to do, because you're actually dealing with community and you're dealing with people who cannot afford, who cannot be a fund. So there's a peculiarity with it, or depends on background, like depending on what your civic engagement is all about, that would determine what kind of kickstart funds that you need for people to get. But first of all, for me to put my money into that collaboration, I must have seen a civic engagement or intervention that you are doing in the community that works. Does that answer your question? Hello? Hello? Hello?
It seems as if she's off. The network is really bad over here in Enugu today.
Oh, so sorry. No, it rained. Even me, I'm struggling. I didn't even know I was going to be very. But
yes, it's
Ruth, you can able to explain, but she's able to understand what I'm trying to say, right?
Yes. It's
All
very
right.
well
All right.
understood.
All right. Does anyone have
So,
any
is
other
there any
question?
other question?
Yes, I have a question. Thank you so much
Okay.
for the teachings you've shared with us this afternoon. Okay, so I would like to ask, you said earlier that every community has a particular issue. So what if we, community here, they have a very pressing issue that everybody's aware, that everybody's aware of the issue, but the community prefers that we handle a particular issue that is more favorable to them. How do I go about it, or how do we go about it? I don't know if the question is...
Okay, if I can get it correctly, if I get it correctly, there's an issue that you have identified as an individual that you know that is affecting everybody, but the community doesn't want to do that issue. They want to do the one that is favorable to them.
Yes.
Okay. Remember when I talked about awareness, when I talked about the importance, have you been able to tell them the danger in it? When you talk about your need assessment, your mapping, your awareness, creating what is happening, to talk to them about it, because the issue that they're having there, they don't want to do that project, is the fact that they don't have an understanding of it, the intending danger of why that thing needs to be sorted out. Do you understand? On one hand, another way you can do it, that you can actually be talking about the one they want and look for a synergy to bring in the ingredient of that which you feel that the community needs to be done. Is about strategy, is about smart, is about having a linkage to it. Do you understand? So that they're looking at the impact, they're saying, oh, eventually I think we might end up going back to this thing to solve these needs. I don't know you're getting me. I don't know if I'm able to answer your question. So first of all, why you are trying to create an awareness, because if you don't do what they're supposed to do, it might have a breach with them. Go with whatever they feel they need, but also try to create an awareness. Start looking for things that danger, the implications. Start looking at things that can actually influence what they're doing in that aspect that you feel that everyone needs. Why you continue, and then look for a balance to bring in those things together so that they can be able to see the essence. So there's a way you can marry, depending on whatever it is. I believe everything has a synergy. There's a way you can synergize whatever it is and still build the community aspect. So don't really tell the danger in not doing what they're supposed to do. You might not be able to get their buy-in. But there's a way you can be doing that which they feel is applicable to them. I don't know what you need, but they're the ones that wear the shoe their nose. But also bring in the impending danger, the one they are neglecting, the need why they need to be done. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Thank you very much.
All right. Any other question?
I don't know if you can hear me.
I can hear you.
All right, thank you so much for the session itself. Then I don't know because the network kept throwing me on and off, so I didn't really get everything. But from the last phase of the explanations you gave, I had wanted to ask, how exactly do one measure the progress you are getting from this kind of community engagements? How do you measure? What are the metrics you could use to say, okay, so I'm making progress. This is the level of the progress I've made, and these are the places where I need maybe improvements to be able to achieve more in a particular regard. So I just want to understand what the measurement metrics should be. I don't know.
Okay. All right. Okay, let me use what we use in code. We have an M&A. Do you understand? We have an outcome plan. We have reports. We have reports. We have feedbacks. Do you understand? Of note how it went. So majorly, the M&E, when we come back, we'll look at these things. Okay, let's just say that I want to give an example. I want to be able to ensure that 200 people in Nsukka goes to school. I'm giving an example. 200 children goes to school in Nsukka. You understand? Currently, what we have that we have 10 people going to school. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Is that your intervention? Is that your intervention? Your intervention starts, and your intervention you have done. You do it like in months, in 3 months, and you see that 10 has increased to 15. So that 5 is there, is already measured. It's trying to say that you are moving. Now you're tracking how fast are you moving in that. So you can do it monthly, it can do monthly, it can do quarterly, it can do at the end of the project. It's dependent on the project and dependent on the engagement you are doing in the community that will give you how to measure. But how do you now measure is that number one, you set off 200, and at the end of first quarter, you're looking at the fact that by the first quarter of this project, I should be able to have 50 people going to school, right? So you now start putting your plans together. By that 50, you measure. You now say, okay, at the end of that, I had 40. So remaining 10, that's a very good man because you came from 0 to something. Then another quarter again, you look at it again. Right? I don't know that is making sense for you. So for me, measuring something dependent on what you are carrying out. And it can be a monthly thing, it can be a quarterly thing, it can be in 6 months of your measure. So what you're measuring, you're looking at where you are, where you're going to, lesson learned, and how to do it better. Does that work? Does that make sense?
Certainly it does, but I had wanted to, I don't know if we can come down to put it a little bit in context with this particular project now that we're on. Because this very project now is more or less about civic engagement, trying to build cohesion between the youth within the local governments that are mapped out and the lawmakers now, trying to address their concerns to improve their level of participation in civic governance and all of that. So in this case now, you will see that we don't basically have more of a nominal role. You could say, oh, I don't know, but it's just what I'm thinking in my head. Is a little bit different from saying, oh, there are 10 persons here, I want them to go to school now, and then you start working. At the end of your work, you eventually succeed increasing 10 to 50. I think is easily measurable. But here is about opinion now. It's about ideology. It's about, and again, there's no election. For example, you could say, oh, last year, 10 persons voted. And after this project, this year, 20 persons voted. That could also have helped us to measure. So how do we measure now in this very situation now where we don't have basically something that we can use as a nominal rule or something? I don't know.
Okay, let me come in now. I cannot quite understand you. Let me use Open Pali. Have you heard of Open Pali, Nigeria? It's an initiative of code. So Open Pali, like I said, is a similar of what you are doing. And I think that's why I was asked to come and talk on this. Open Pali is what we are doing. Do you understand? So Open Pali, like I said, you cannot measure. The essence is for us to, get people, youth participation in governance and youth collaboration with this to ensure that the parliamentarians are okay. So at the end of the day, what we looked at was the fact that how we were able to measure our goals, or that citizens in the community began to ask right questions. Citizens in the community began to hold town hall meeting, demanding as little as the chairman of the community to come in. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Hello?
Yes, yes.
Do you
Yes,
get?
yes, I'm following.
So then they started holding their town hall meeting. They started doing community engagement on their own. They began to look at projects on their own. For me, that's, you know, this is a behavioral change. It cannot be measured, but you're looking at it that the lackadaisical attitude as regards to youth participation of those days were no more there. People were not trying to see, and because of the kind of noise we are making, do you know your parliament? Some of them began even to know at least the name of their person. When you enter community, say this person, KYZ Chidiko Eze, is our community constituency head in the state. At that point, there's already a measurement because people not knowing what they, not even knowing people in their leadership are beginning to know. So for this kind of measure now is reactions from people, their attractions, their interest in what you are doing. What they are doing outside when you have not engaged them is your measurement. Pascal, does that answer you? Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes,
Is there
it
any
does,
still
certainly.
confusion?
Thank you very much.
Does it have no? Do you
No,
still have
not
confusion?
yet.
Like, if you see me confusion, but I'm looking at shrinking.
Hello.
Looking at shrinking. Hello.
Okay, I can hear you now. Sorry.
Yes, looking at shrinking space in governance. That's what we are doing now. So we are looking at some loopholes. Do you understand how people can able to easily from the community on what we have to do.
It's all right. Thank you very much.
Any other question? Any other question? Hello, Ruth.
All right. So in the absence of questions, I want to sincerely appreciate you, Ma, for the huge insights when it comes to community organizing. Yes, at least we now understand that before you ever begin to talk about community organizing, there must be a need. Yes, and after identifying the need, there is need to start building relationships, and there is also need for whatever projects to be inclusive. There is need to also develop leadership, like leadership development in the sense that we build people who are going to be working with us. So we really appreciate you, Ma, for this insightful session. And we don't take it for granted. It's going to go a long way in helping us carry out our projects, elevating youth voices, building trust and civic cohesion in Enugu East Senatorial Zone. So we are really grateful. Yeah, we are really grateful. Thanks so much for coming on board.
All
And
right,
we
thank you.
we hope to still collaborate with you in the future. Thank you so much, ma'am.
No problem. If there's, I'm open for any questions at some point. Maybe there's anything as regards to difficulties in community engagement. I'm willing to share from project, from what we're doing and code, from what you're doing to share some insight. I'm willing, just send it to me, and I'll be able to give how to navigate those issues with the help of Kingsley and permission from Kingsley. I know I could do better. I could also help in anything to ensure that your project is done well. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you
having
so
me.
much.
And I really apologize again for coming in late. Sorry for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. We sincerely appreciate, and we also love to have the slides if possible. We are
All
going
right,
to
I
be
will
so
just share with
grateful.
you, but just give me a few minutes. I'm running for another meeting. I'm having
Okay, ma.
they've
Thank
been
you so
beckoning
much.
on me. Yes, thank you. All
All
right,
right,
thank you
thank you
so
so
much.
much. All right,
All right.
bye. Okay, so at this point, we are going to call it a day. We are going to have other discussions on the WhatsApp platform and via email. So thank you very much, everyone, for participating today. Your participation means a whole lot. So let's not forget to engage on social media with what we've learned today. Likewise, check out the handbook for the assignment for today. And don't forget, I'm still expecting the previous assignments. So thank you very much, everyone. Have a lovely day ahead. Bye.